Welcome back to Creating Inner Beauty. Hi, I'm Liz, and I'm an intuitive coach and healer for conscious women who are on the path of spiritual awakening, embodiment, and divine feminine healing. In today's video, we're going to be talking all about how you know when a goddess is calling you and how to respond. And this video was prompted by one of my clients sharing with me that ever since she was a little girl, she felt very drawn to the goddess Artemis. And she was wondering, is there a reason for this? And I wanted to share with you some of my answer to her and my thoughts on the topic, so that if you have felt in your journey that perhaps you're just drawn to working with goddess energy, or that there's a specific goddess that you're feeling pulled toward, that you can have some insight as to what that's about, and you can heed that call because it's very special. So first, let's dive into why a goddess might be calling you. Each goddess carries a unique energetic frequency and archetype. And when a goddess is sort of calling you and trying to get your attention, when you feel that draw toward her, it may be that energy, that archetype, that goddess is responding to something in your soul that is ready to start to open up, to explore, to heal, and to embody. So a goddess will often show up when you're entering a new phase of life, when you're healing a really core wound, like something around love, worthiness, your power, finding your voice. Or you're being initiated into a new level of growth, spiritual expansion, life purpose, kind of whenever you're on that brink of taking the next step forward in the direction in your path in life. That is often when you see goddess energy show up, and a particular goddess kind of calling you and wanting to connect with you. I know for myself, this has happened several times in my life. I remember as a little girl, very similar to my client, I felt very drawn to the Greek goddess Diana, moon goddess. And this was after I had started reading some Greek mythology stories. And I was just so intrigued by this connection between Diana and the moon. And I would look up at the moon and think about her being up there and her energy. And that felt so very real to me. And I think that was the first seeds of my path with working with the goddesses and goddess spirituality and goddess healing. And then later on, fast forward like 20 years, I was in grad school, and the second time I really felt the call of the goddesses was I was in my grad school's bookstore, and all of a sudden my attention was captured by this book, which I believe was entitled The Chalice and the Blade. And I don't know why, but I was just drawn to the book, and I knew I had to get it and read it. And it turned out to be a book that was all about goddess spirituality and an exploration of the role of the divine feminine in religion and spirituality and how it impacts women, etc. So reading that book actually sort of changed the course of my life. I decided to then focus on writing my dissertation on goddess spirituality, and has been the starting point of the journey that has taken me here, which is working with conscious women in their healing and growth, and incorporating this aspect of goddess healing and goddess empowerment with it. So it's all part of my life purpose. And if I hadn't listened to those nudges in the beginning, I don't know where the path would have taken me. So here we are now. So it may be for you that something like that is occurring, that you're at a particular turning point in your life where the goddess or the goddesses are trying to get your attention to open you up to a certain pathway. And so it is definitely not random. It is a sacred calling, and it's going to be personal to you. So it doesn't happen for everybody at the same time, and a different goddess might show up for you versus someone else. Trust what your intuition is telling you about that. Now, So how do you know if that's happening right now, or it is going to happen at a point in your journey? There are a couple different signs I want to go over, 5 different signs. First is that you might start noticing recurring symbols. So you can keep seeing a specific symbol that's associated with a particular goddess, something like roses for Aphrodite, owls for Athena, lions for Durga, or other flowers, others numbers. There's a lot of different things that can be connected to the goddesses. But if you have an association like, hey, this thing is connected to this goddess, this symbol, and you start seeing it everywhere, it's often a sign that that goddess wants to connect your energy and work with you at this point in your path. Secondly, you might just feel a really strong emotional resonance and connection. So when you hear the goddess's name or you read her story, you just feel a deep emotional reaction. You might get goosebumps, you might feel tears come up, you might have a sense of coming home. Any of those things are a sign that that particular goddess would like to connect with you. You might also, at sign number 3, have dreams or visions of the goddess. She might appear in a meditation, in your dreams, or just intuitive flashes with messages or a feeling of her presence around you. Trust any of those intuitive knowings for yourself. And now, remember, your intuitive senses are how you perceive the energy of the divine, of spirit. So when you're tuned into what your strongest intuitive senses are, it is likely that the goddess will be trying to get your attention through that sense. So I believe I have a video on my channel that talks about the different intuitive senses. I will try to remember to link that down below. But once you start learning that, it also becomes a little easier to know who might be getting in contact with you energetically. If you're an empath, you might more feel their presence. If you're someone who's strongly clairvoyant, you might see their symbols or have visions. So let that knowledge guide you as well. Now, you might also just start to experience a lot of synchronicities around this goddess. You keep encountering the same goddess through books, through social media, through conversations, music. She just keeps showing up in different places in your life. You keep hearing the name, seeing the name, getting information about her, etc. Really strong sign that that goddess is calling you. And I kind of keep fluctuating between saying that goddess and the goddess, because I feel like it can happen either way. Sometimes it's a particular goddess and that energetic signature and archetype that is reaching out to you and wanting to get your attention. Other times it's just goddess energy, the divine feminine in general. And so you might feel a pull to either one. And likely, since you clicked on this video, I'm guessing you know that. And then lastly, another thing to kind of look out for is that you're going through something that reflects her medicine, right? Your life theme is a match for what you know that goddess is about. So if you're healing heartbreak, if you're reclaiming sensuality, and you feel like there's a goddess presence, likely it's going to be a goddess of love, such as Aphrodite or Venus. If you're stepping into leadership more, maybe you might find that Athena or Sekhmet is calling you. So just tune into what is going on for you and then feel into what goddess you feel drawn to, and you'll likely be able to make that match up for yourself. Okay. So if this is happening for you, if you're having this beautiful sacred experience of feeling these nudges toward the goddess or specific goddess in your life, then all you need to do in terms of responding is really set the intention of saying, yes, I am open to connecting. And there are some practices that you can do to really help continue to facilitate the relationship and the connection, the healing that is about to unfold. So first, I would really suggest creating a sacred space, an altar to this goddess, where perhaps you have a candle, some flowers that connect to that goddess energy, perhaps an image of her, just some place in your home, in your living space that you feel is dedicated to this budding relationship, right? Then when you're at your sacred space, when you're at your altar, speak her name. I recommend out loud. There's a power to that, in my opinion, but you can also mentally, energetically speak her name, set the intention of connecting with her and calling her in. And just share with her very simply that you welcome her presence. Show me how to work with you. You can say that out loud or in your own mind. And then listen. You can ask some questions if you like, but have some method where you are being in a receptive mode. This might just be sitting in stillness and silence and receiving in a meditative way. It might be sitting down with your journal and writing any messages that come through after you call in her presence. You might want to use your oracle cards, like if you have any oracle or tarot cards, especially any that are goddess themed. You could pull a card and feel into the messages that are coming through that way. So there are multiple ways that you can receive her guidance and message. It just requires that openness to doing so and being receptive, listening and feeling into it, right? And then another beautiful thing to do is to honor that goddess through ritual. So you can create a simple but beautiful ritual where perhaps you present flowers, you present incense, you present affirmations, say affirmations as part of the ritual. Anything that's going to be of honor to the goddess, giving her respect and developing your relationship, and is a practice that helps facilitate the kind of energy and healing that she would like to bring into your life and that you're working on. So for example, in an Aphrodite ritual, I might light a candle and then light some rose incense as an offering to the goddess. And then during my time, sit in meditation and be receptive to any messages that she has. And then I might say some self-love affirmations, knowing that as I do, and I connect to that energy of self-love, I am awakening my own inner Aphrodite essence and connecting more strongly to her as well. So those can be some parts of a ritual. And then just customize it for where you are at in your life, what you're healing, and the goddess that you feel is calling you. And this relationship is going to develop over time. You might find that for a period of time you work with one goddess and then she's a little less present for you and another energy comes in, another goddess energy comes in, depending on what you're going through in your life, what you're working on, what the next phase of your healing and expansion is. So allow your intuition to guide you with this. So working with goddesses isn't just a spiritual practice, although it is deeply spiritual and deeply beautiful in that way. It can also be deeply healing and empowering. And to me, those two things are intertwined, right? So when you work with a goddess, it's going to really start to bring parts of you back home and expand them and help you embody those inner goddess energies. You'll feel more settled into your body, more confident about yourself, more powerful, more intuitive, more receptive. So there are many benefits to really opening up this relationship with the goddesses. And if she is showing up for you, trust that, because it's going to lead you to something beautiful, is all I can say about it. So I'm really curious if you feel, the reason that you clicked on this video was that you feel that a goddess is calling you right now. If so, who do you think it is? What has the journey been like to you? I'd love to hear what signs you've noticed and to connect about that. And if you'd like to connect a little bit more deeply, I have a whole goddess meditation series on my channel right now that I've posted that are meditations that you can use to connect to various goddess energies. I've designed them to be meditations that you can use as part of your morning ritual or anytime throughout your day where you want to connect a little bit more deeply to the goddesses. So go ahead and check those out. I'll link them in the description box below. And if you want to go even deeper and get some channeled guidance and messages from the goddesses about where you're at in your journey, where to go from here, your personal healing and growth, I do offer one-on-one goddess oracle card readings and empowerment sessions. So I would love to connect with you a little bit more on that and help you explore this beautiful goddess journey that is being presented to you. I hope you have a beautiful day. If this video has been helpful to you, please feel free to hit that like button, subscribe for more videos on spirituality, healing, goddess empowerment, and divine feminine embodiment, and share this with a friend if you feel like it would be helpful for her on her journey. And I'd love to see you in my next video. Take care.